Spirit guides in terms of Hmong animism, spirituality. A lot of times people say, people say Qhua Neeb, if you meet elders, they'll say it's your ancestors. In terms of just, like Hmong, shamanism, right? As a shaman, they have spirit guides, Qhua Neeb. They're pretty much spirits who help you Oneng. They guide you. They give you the ability to perform healing ceremonies, and pretty much they're pretty much your guides. And a lot of times, with shamans, we don't call them guides. We call them our kids. Yeah, they're spirits who guide us and we're Oneng, and they're the ones who choose us to become shamans. They're the ones who make us moneng and all of that. As a Tinang, your Konang lo Jiao Yu lo Ba Yu Onang, they teach you Janang non. So that's how they help you. They teach you Janang no. You use them in certain ceremonies, all of them, right? Like có有mu trang chu lo có有shi zi Qhua no, có有mu gong chu lo có shi zi Qhua no, có有ngua lo có shi zi Qhua no na. And so that's pretty much what you do with them. As it Tinang, they're really just there to help you. Onang tia or you Konang tia lo Ba Yu Shai tia. So that's their role as a Tinang. Their role is you work with them in tandem, and they're the ones who give you the ability to Onang Sima. Cho khả năng là mà nhắn tới tu sư phụ, tu sư phụ so về chờ đâu có gì có tổ linh đó so, nhắn tới sư phụ ít chia. And this is where it's really hard to nail down, right? It really depends on your lineage. Depends on what tu sư phụ. Also, once you become your own seafood, but this is, I would say, it's unique to the seafood and it's unique to the Tinang. I won't comment too much on this because so to say that certain shamans can only have this much, there's no such thing. And how they practice, that's how much they'll have. And you but it's all determined. You seafood solid you then individual you so everything so no one has the same number of spirit guides, and so is a pair, and the reason for this is because when you look at the only and so not every Konang comes in but most do, right? Most do. And so, for example, most of Konang Bay who must do it's an and Lamo don't go ola lo Lamo to bang junk to bang more. Most times, charge more to turn that's it saying that to turn quality, so this might be it. And so we usually do turn much more too. That's people want to lead to some nang, each of their eat on some nang, that's it, their go on some nang, don't some yellow there. And so just not there, they all just come in pairs, and so like she banner beats it, you got it to home janju, you rather have eat pairs. There's different hall, there's different hall that people can have. This again comes down to seafood, more so this is just the lineage. Now they say like you get different types. Basically, I don't think there's too much to elaborate about. The thing is just that's just what's unique to them. Then there's their ability. Because I can saw like how to go me. Other than how to talk, like you let you saw. Mà cho nên thằng xã rất dài lù, rất dài là đã chuẩn cho rồi lù, và cho nên sau rất sai fortune low sai thế nào, and so it really, and then those lineages kind of determine what kind of nang you are. At the same time, it can also affect the color veil you wear. But chỉ hay có tàu nữa chứ. It's really just really types of Konang there is, right? Like what is their element, what do they use? It's simple terms. And so they not but then most purpose 那么只问团队在那包量，只问团队在那包量。I feel like sometimes in Western cultures we try so hard to know what is this, why is that, right? We always try so hard to know what it is. But what Hmong people, they just accept it. It is what it is. Simplest terms, heal people too. That is the overall goal. Nothing beyond that. And so it's here that when it comes down to the simplest terms, when you don't seek too much and you just wonder why, I would say they're just here to help people. There is no other big mission. Because what else are they here to do? You know, what else can they do? They like tell you, and so their goal is just to make sure the younger generations are set and well. And you know, in this world, there's forces all around, unknown forces we don't know about. Maybe there's something trying to counter that, and that might be the Qhua. So that's what I specifically would say it is. Everyone learns differently. The hardest thing about trying to ask very direct questions is everyone experiences differently. I wouldn't say we merge, we go into a trance, right? We go into a trance. We go higher. I can online and stop if I want to, right? You online you yes, it does happen, but in a normal ceremony now, you have to see Sunday in daylight ma. You have to see but then you go into a trance, right? Where and so the merge you know, and your body just reacts to it. And they give you strength, but they don't control your body. They give you strength to move to but they possess you all, they merge possess you all, they'll give you strength, like the and then take you. And how does it feel like? Well, it feels like you go into this state of mind. And you go into this kind of trance, and everyone feels differently. I've never met a shaman who has the same exact feeling. And so just in my personal terms, the number one question people ask me is, what do you see? I don't see anything. What do you see? But it's not about seeing, it's about feeling. And so what do I feel, right? What do I feel? I just feel like I could feel. See, I don't want to say I feel spirits. I can just, because sometimes when I'm doing it, I don't feel anything. I don't know how to explain it. I don't think there's words to explain that feeling, or enough vocabulary to explain it. But in Hmong, you feel it all in your heart. You feel it. It feels like a strong gut feeling. It feels like a strong instinctive feeling, right? There's some parts where like you get there and you want to bypass it. You say maybe that's just me. Maybe that's a placebo effect. Maybe it's the mind. And then you realize you try to in that ceremony, but just something very true and natural to you will tell you it's not. So then you stick with that. And so it feels like a driving force, honestly. It feels like a driving force in your heart, a strong will that just pushes you and pulls you along. Yeah, I would say that's how it feels like. It's like a will. And it doesn't feel forceful. It doesn't feel anything. It's very natural like feeling. At times I would say it feels like adrenaline. Like adrenaline, but calm adrenaline. You know, adrenaline's always rushy and fast, but it feels like calm adrenaline. And that adrenaline kind of like changes throughout your whole ceremony. So it's complicated. It's complicated. Everyone feels a little different, but that's kind of how I feel when I go into a trance. It's when I talk about going to that trance and feeling, like I said, there's no words to feel, because it's not like I'm seeing a lot of things. It's not like I'm doing but it's all about how you feel. Like I said, when I'm not doing a ceremony, I never feel that. But whenever I do a ceremony, it's the only time I can feel that adrenaline calm. And a lot of times it's like autopilot, right? You go into autopilot, but it doesn't mean you can't stop, right? Your body kind of and that's that autopilot. But then a lot of it's in like you're chanting. But I tell people sometimes I don't have to think of when I chant. Like, to be honest, sometimes I'll be doing online and I'll think about, what do I want to eat for dinner tonight? what am I gonna do after this onang? Throughout all of that, I'm thinking about it. The whole time, I'm still chanting. I'm still doing the movements and everything. But I'm literally thinking about like, what am I gonna do? And then I'm like, oh, I'm back. Let's do this. Like, oh, like my konang. I'm not gonna use the word konang a lot. I'm just using the word like, feel out there. Oh, we have to do this. A lot of times if we're doing just small things and like that's it, I get distracted a lot in the ceremonies. I can still be performing, still be chanting, but I'll be thinking about, like, oh, work tomorrow's gonna be so tiring, or like, oh, all this stuff. And so that's why I say it's like a driving kind of force feeling where it pulls you along and you go along with it, but it doesn't mean that you can't keep that human part of you. A lot of times in my ceremony, I would just be on autopilot and I'll like be thinking of other things while I'm chanting away like nothing, like shaking like nothing, no mistakes, no missing anything. And I was thinking about my day or thinking about what I'm gonna do after this. So like, oh, do I need to go shopping? So it's complicated. It's a pull, it's emotion, but because going the day and I don't going the day like I don't have to concentrate too much on what I'm doing because I feel like I'm so used to doing it. Like 可能即係教育嘅質喎，先啦。Yeah, trust and relationship is very important. It's very important in your journey. And like too, there's no perfect way to build this. You have to find your own way. You have to find your own way how to connect with them. But there is many practices that's been passed down where it's effective. So it's all about knowing how to how to use them in a good combination and good motion. And don't force it. Don't force it. Don't force it too much. Take the time and go actually observe other shamans as well. And observe a variety of shamans. But stick within your lineage. Don't break out of your lineage, but observe and listen. Get a gist of how Gonang works. Get a gist of how do they communicate with your Honang, and that's how you'll know how to build with your Honang as well. People didn't know, every New Year shamans light Qhua, or people say Qhua, and we release our spirits away. And we do this, there's many reasons why we have to do it. Importantly, there's one task that we must do, and this is even before we send a Konang. And it's done during this ceremony is for those who use animal sacrifices. Not every shaman does, but most commonly we do. Every time we use a sacrifice, whether you to kai, tumboa, we will use these, right? All the jia we use, whether it's hupli, bao yang, whatever because we promised them that we would take you to your enter rebirth, to be reborn into to cheer to young human, or maybe even out of that rebirth process. You break up, you achieve nirvana. And so we have the jaws. That's why we collect all the pig jaws, and that's called peng. Their evidence, or their proof that they're ready to go. And so we gather them all up and we send them off, and then we have to there's so many processes to it, so then we take them to the gate and we open the gate and then we tell them go, and we give them money paper and we give them and all this stuff, which is your passage to life. You go live a better life. You've made a sacrifice. You will be, you're going to live a very wealthy, nice life, and that they go through that door. So we have to make sure we complete that, because without that, then, we have promises we have not kept. This brings back to what we think about as, Hmong shaman is very 3, 4, 5 dimensional. Although our Khonang work with us, our Khonang have families back at home. They have kids, and because our Khonang are our ancestors, and so then we also understand that what 11 other 12 months, they probably miss their family. They're tired and they're gonna go celebrate the new year. And so we literally you have to take them because they that's their holiday. That's the first Hmong holiday, but the first Hmong holiday, so it is their holiday. Most times Most people would say it's just family. It's really all it is.